Welcome to the Mindset Mile podcast, the show that'll leave you empowered to take action towards becoming the turned up version of your already awesome self. I'm your host, Aisha Zaza, and I'm so glad you're here. Let's go. Hello, my beautiful friend. Welcome back to another episode of the Mindset Mile podcast. Let's talk about anger today. I think this is really important to talk about because anger takes a lot of energy, and it's a lot of negative energy at that. And I want to say first that it's impossible to go through life never getting mad. So the objective here isn't to eliminate anger, but it's about how to cope with it, because even the most patient of people get angry. But the difference between, let's just say, you and someone who you think never gets angry is the reaction time between baseline, where there is no anger, to where one might become visibly or audibly angry. And also the scale of anger, right? The scale of anger in proportion to what the problem is. So there's situations like road rage where, yes, it's never fun to deal with someone that cuts you off or that flips you off, but do we really need to fly off the handlebars over it, right? Like that type of anger could also be festering because there's underlying anger that we aren't coping with or dealing with. Okay, so there are things that are obviously going to get you to, let's say, a level 6, and then there's things that trigger a level 10 anger, that blood boiling anger. And we want to know how to cope with them because anger isn't healthy. The long-term effects of uncontrolled anger include high blood pressure, increased anxiety, and anger can even induce headaches. So we don't want to get to that point. And I want to give you some tips on how to cope with anger if you know you've got a little bit of a temper, or maybe you've come to this place in life where you just feel like more angry than you remember being, which is probably a result of unchecked stress, or maybe you're feeling unaligned with your purpose and not doing enough things that bring you joy. Whatever the reason might be, here are some ways I hope help you deal with this battery draining, usually unproductive emotion of anger. The first tip I have is to pause. Now, I know this might sound like really elementary advice, but how likely are you to actually pause before you respond in anger and say something you don't mean? Anger is an emotion that makes us innately reactive, which is why we often find ourselves apologizing once we've calmed down over things that we said or the way that we treated someone when we were mad. So depending on the circumstance, you're obviously going to have different windows of time to take a break before you respond. But I want you to know that there is no set time or wrong amount of time to practice pausing. So in the instance that you receive an email that made you mad, then obviously in this scenario, you have a little bit more time to take a step back, cool off before you respond. Do not respond right away. You're going to say things that you don't mean or that come off nasty. Or if you're feeling yourself getting angry during a conversation in real time, let's say, right? So you're having this conversation in person and you're feeling like you're starting to get angry. It's absolutely okay if you are straightforward with yourself and the other person and just say, I need 5 minutes to cool off or to think about this before I respond. There is so much power in pausing before you respond. Remember that. Tip 2 is take a walk or do some kind of quick burst energy exertion. Honestly, I believe that there's not much a good walk can't help. Getting out of your current environment, if possible, is a key part in helping regulate your emotions. And even if that's just around the block or the parking lot, get some fresh air, some sunlight, and walk off the anger. Or, as silly as this might sound, get on the floor and do 10 quick push-ups or 25 air squats. Don't think, just do. That quick burst of physical exertion is going to cut off that escalating thought loop and get your brain to focus on what you're doing instead of running rampant with angry thoughts. Okay. This episode is brought to you by Betterhelp. Sometimes we're faced with a crossroads in life and don't know which path to take. Or maybe you're thinking about a career change or feeling like your relationship needs some TLC. Whatever it is, therapy can help you map out your future and trust yourself to find the way forward. I know it absolutely has for me. If you've had the idea of therapy in the back of your mind, try BetterHelp. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Plus, BetterHelp is extending 10% off your first month just for Mindset Mile listeners. Visit betterhelp.com, that's BetterHelp.com/Mindset Mile today to get 10% off your first month. A huge pet peeve of mine is glasses that don't stay put when I'm running. I like being able to zone out, get into a flow state, and focus on my run, not constantly having to push up my sunglasses. This was an issue for me until I started to wear Goodr glasses. Not only are they 100% polarized, lightweight, and comfortable, but they're actually stylish and look good. I rotate through a few pairs since they're only $25 a piece, which makes it super convenient to have sunglasses in a place I'm always grabbing for them, like my car, purse, my running stroller, and my gym bag. Mindset Mile listeners get free shipping on your first order. Find your first pair at goodr.com/Mindset Mile and use Mindset Mile to get free shipping. That's GOODR.com/Mindset Mile and use code Mindset Mile to get free shipping on your first order. One of my favorite high protein snacks is Greek yogurt, and to it, I'll add some berries and granola. But I'm super picky about my granola because most of them are made with tons of sugar and inflammatory oils, which is why I use Wildway granola. It's made from 100% real ingredients with no added sugars, preservatives, seed oils, or flavorings. Just wholesome blend of nuts, seeds, dried fruit, and spices. And they have such amazing flavors like coconut cashew, banana nut, apple cinnamon, dark chocolate sea salt, peach pecan, and vanilla bean espresso. They're all delicious. You've got to get your hands on some. Right now, save 20% off your first order with the code MindsetMile by visiting wildwayoflife.com. That's wildwayoflife.com using code MindsetMile to receive 20% off your first order. My third tip is to take action. So when channeled appropriately, anger can actually be a very helpful emotion, but it's harmful when you just sit there with your anger and stew. So take action in a way that's healthy, beneficial, or good for you or someone else. So maybe that looks like signing a petition, right? So maybe you're angry about something that's going on where you actually have the power to change it. Go sign a petition or see how you can get involved in the work that changes and fixes the problem that you're angry about. It could also look like picking up your house or going on a cleaning spree. Believe it or not, those things are very therapeutic. Channeling your anger into doing something productive will give you time to decompress and think about the situation. My fourth tip is repeat a mantra. So repeat something in your head or out loud that's going to help calm you down. It can be as simple as saying something like, everything's going to be okay, or you're going to be fine, or relax and breathe. When your visceral response to something is anger, your mind really needs some clear and simple hand-holding to help you calm down. So repeat this mantra over and over again until you feel your body start to relax. Your brain believes what you tell it. So if you're coaching it to calm down in the heat of the moment, it actually will. So repeat it over and over and over again for at least a minute until you start to feel yourself calm down. My next tip number 5, write a letter. Sometimes when you're mad, all you need to feel is like you got your emotions out in any form. So better than lashing out on someone or saying something you don't mean, write your feelings down. So this can be a letter to the person you're mad at. It could be a letter to future you, or it could be in a journal entry format. It doesn't need to be specific, but write down what's making you mad. This also doesn't need to be done in a formal book or journal. It really can just be in the Notes app on your phone. Try this. I'm telling you, it works magic. My 6th tip is talk to someone. Whether that's a therapist or a trusted friend, talk to someone. Anger that you keep inside does no good. When you keep what's bothering you to yourself, your mind will run wild and start making up scenarios and future tripping about things that haven't even happened or are so unlikely to actually happen. You know what I'm talking about. You add layers to the scenario that's making you mad and you start thinking for the other person. You start assuming things that you don't know are true. Whether you talk to a therapist about the things that make you mad or just a friend, venting is a healthy release to controlling anger. Do not let it sit inside and eat you alive. My 7th tip is count backwards from 100. I swear, counting is an actual magic trick. You've heard me talk about the Mel Robbins 5-second rule many times on this podcast. If you don't know what it is, look it up after this episode. But counting backwards from 100 when you're mad provides you the time you need to get your heart rate down, giving time for your anger to subside. Okay, it's all about short-circuiting the thought loops. When you're mad, your brain loves to do this thing where it adds fuel to fire and pulls all kinds of things up to help your anger escalate or stay. You can take the control back by distracting your brain with counting. When you're in a more level-headed place, you can come back to the situation and think about it rationally. But start with counting backwards from 100 down to 1. My 8th tip is focus on your breath. Talk about the most second nature thing your body does. If you are healthy and well, you never have to think about breathing. It's just, think about how automatic it is. It happens thousands of times throughout your day. So when you feel yourself getting mad, being intentional about your breath can help you calm down. Think about taking slow and deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Breath work is a really big piece in the practice of being mindful. And when you're mad, oftentimes your brain jumps to future problems and it compounds the problem at hand. So breath work really doesn't take long. It really only takes like 5 to 6 deep breaths before you feel a physical difference, right? You will feel a tension release if you slow down and pay attention to taking 5 to 6 deep breaths. So for my type A people, I'm going to recap these tips here. My first tip was pause. Take a break before you respond. Tip 2, take a walk or do some type of quick burst energy exertion. 3 is take action. 4 is repeat a mantra. 5 is writing a letter and getting your emotions out on paper. 6, talk to someone, whether that's a therapist or a friend. 7, count backwards from 100. And 8, focus on taking deep breaths. Your breath work makes all the difference when you're mad. I really, really hope this episode serves you. Please tag me on social media at Aisha Zaza so I can see the episodes that you're loving and so other people can find this episode as well and benefit from it. I cannot wait to see you next week, my friend. And until then, make it a great day.